Sheldon Primus.
Welcome to the Safety Consultant Show with Sheldon Primus, where we blend safety smarts with business brilliance and a pinch of Sheldon's signature wit. Whether you're a safety pro, a fresh-faced consultant, or just safety curious, get ready for a show that'll educate, entertain, and elevate your safety game. Let's dive into the art of consulting with your safety Sherpa himself, Sheldon Primus.
This episode is powered by Safety FM.
Now let's keep you guys going. EPA we're talking about, right? So with the EPA rules, we've got a couple of things. The Trump administration, they actually did have the enforcement decline, and the civil penalties were $3.9 million in 2018, which is the lowest in 2 decades for fines being collected by the EPA. They also changed the Water of the United States rule. You guys know that I am a water guy, so that's a big one. There's a bunch of other things that were weakened and deregulated. And again, I'm saying that because that's the terminology that was used, but what happens whenever rules are deregulated? It gives an opportunity for a business to be more creative as to how they're going to protect their workers or protect the environment. If you just follow the letter of the regulation, or at least just try to look for compliance only, what'll happen is the business doesn't have the incentive, if you would, to try to find something even more protective than the requirement of the law. That's the other side of the argument. Biden administration, they actually renewed enforcement. They had a lot of penalties issued in 2024. 1.7 billion is what I'm seeing here. They gave some regulation on EPA regulations on greenhouse gas emissions, and they also had some stricter vehicle emission standards. They restored and got the Waters of the United States rule back. They did regulate other, or I should say, they rolled back other regulations. And some of the things that the Biden administration and EPA did is they went back to the Obama era protections and put some of those climate protections back into place. So that's what happened with the EPA. Overall, and this is just, again, from the study that I'm seeing here and starting doing. So, again, I'm doing this all in one long episode, but I'm going to give it to you guys in bite-sized pieces. So hopefully, I'm not even sure how I'm going to break this up. But here's the worker safety trend. Democratic administrations, OSHA actions, regulatory compliance is, again, big. Penalties are going to be out there, so nice high dollar figures in a Democratic administration, where a Republican administration will prioritize reducing regulatory burdens for the business, fewer inspections, fewer enforcement activities, but it doesn't mean no inspections or no enforcement activities. It just means that they're going to really focus their budgetary dollars on big items, the things that they can't Claude Dern and I do, right? The things that have to be addressed because it's going to affect either the environment in such a big way, or a community, or a workplace that have workers that could get injured. So that's the worker safety part, the environmental part. You're going to see with the Democratic administration stricter rules and higher penalties, and a focus on deregulation. Again, limiting government interventions is big. You are going to see that with the Republican administration, whenever there are inefficiencies in government and regulation catches that, if regulation doesn't catch any inefficiencies in some way, when that employer starts seeing either a waste in product or services or something else, they will self-correct because they're looking at a waste. They wouldn't self-correct because the law is telling them to. So what will happen in environmental health and safety, actually, you will see in a Republican administration those businesses that are prone to growth and that are prone to try to self-improve, they're going to go ahead and start doing things beyond OSHA compliance, and they're incentivized to do things like Voluntary Protection Program, VPP, SHARP, Safety and Health Achievement Recognition Program. Those are really good things that you could get out of a Republican administration. All right, so I think I got a bunch of the different rules out there. Just for your knowledge, gang, I am putting all this nerd stuff together. Those of you that are still hanging in there, that's why I have to do the bite-sized pieces. You're going to be able to get this nerd stuff together in a white paper. I'm complying right now. I'm giving you guys the audio version of this, but there is a written version of this in the white paper. I don't think I'm going to have it on sheldon.coach because I just want to keep that for my coaching side of my business. But I'm going to probably put this up on the new revised sheldonprimus.com that's on its way. So hang in there. You're going to see sheldonprimus.com. But if you want this report earlier than that, just send me an email, sheldon@sheldonprimus.com. Send it out to you that way. All right, so here's some key matrix to drive the point on a little bit. Actually, forget the key matrix and the key standards. We're just going to skip to something else that I think that you guys should think about. I mentioned it earlier. I'm going to need some time to talk about it, so might as well go ahead and think about this. It's Chevron. So there is a Chevron Deference. So Chevron USA, they actually had a case against the Natural Resource Defense Council, and basically it just grants federal agencies, this ruling granted federal agencies the ambiguity, the authority to interpret ambiguity in standards. So the Congress would say that they don't have to give specific guidance in a rule, in a law, that says, all right, if you are in construction, there's a Congress law that would say at 6 feet you have to follow fall protection. That's not the way it works. It's not coming from Congress there. It's actually coming from OSHA. How OSHA gets that is through advisory from people in open comment, advisory through a few of the advisory boards that OSHA goes to, and expert advisory, stakeholder advisory. That's how they come up with it. But now with the Chevron rule, what happened is the courts then, instead of deferring to the agency, the implication of this overturn is now if there's any ambiguity in the wording of a standard, where, like, for instance, OSHA will say you have to have a competent person, and they'll give you the things a competent person needs to know in order for them to be competent, and they have to be able to stop a job. So that is what they call a performance standard. So let's say someone says to OSHA, well, how do I get them competent? I could send them to Sheldon Primus competent person class. I don't have one, but let's say they did that. Are they now competent because they went through this class, or do they have to take an OSHA 10 and OSHA 30? How do they get competent? That is ambiguous to me. So now they ask a court to decide what are the things that makes this person competent. So now a court can truly say, all right, this person needs to take OSHA 30. They take an OSHA 30 and they take one subject class of whatever topic: excavation, fall protection, scaffolding, things like that. They take a class, they take an OSHA 30, now they're competent. Here says the court, and they bang the gavel, and that now is going to become the law. So in order for you to get someone compliant, you have to go through the 30-hour class at OSHA and a specialty class for that specialty this person has to be over, because the judge decided, not because the specialist decided. So that's the idea behind the Chevron Deference overturning. What will happen is it's going to slow down the development and implementation of some rules because of this. And now you overlay the deference overturn to what we know about Republican administration going towards more deregulation and allowing business more creativity, then we could truly say, if we're trying to think of the future, that honestly, I'm a consultant, so I work with the client, and they're my person. So if a client asks me, hey, help me come up with a case that says this 5A1 rule, which is the better law, that this 5A1 rule on heat stress, there's too vague of wording on this violation. Help me fight this. I'm a representative of the client, so I'm going to help them fight that. That's what I do. Same thing if you are working for somebody, and now you're looking at this ruling or something that you got cited on, and you look back to the Code of Federal Regulation, you find that code, and you're like, I see some vague wording here. What does OSHA mean? So normally when you see that, the first thing we go to is a letter of interpretation. We try to figure out, all right, from the letter of interpretation, this is how OSHA interprets this, but is this still, what do we mean by this? So at that point, you could truly get an administrative law judge to make the decision in the Chevron deference, and then what happens is they'll vacate the citation. That's me saying this, but that's generally what it'll boil down to. But it's got to be some fight on your side. All right. So let's see a case with a construction company. I'll give you here. So this is me using chat to help me. I asked it to give me an illustration of what a Chevron deference overturn would look like. So this is what it came back as a case study. A construction company challenges the heat stress standard, arguing that OSHA has overstepped its authority by regulating specific environmental conditions, heat exposure, rather than workplace conditions explicitly addressed in the Occupational Safety and Health Act. The outcome: without Chevron, the court finds OSHA's jurisdiction for heat stress standard insufficient and overturns the rule, leaving the agency to restart the rulemaking process with clearer statutory backing. So at that point, what really it's going to work out is regulation will be and this is me talking, regulation will be something that is unpredictable. It'll be something where businesses will truly just start suing. That's strategically something that they should do. And then there'll probably be a stay from a judge where you just keep doing what you're doing until they can figure things out. So that's a consideration. Not everybody's going to have to think about this type of Chevron deference overturning, what it means to your organization. However, just the way that things are overlapping right now is what I really think that you guys should be thinking about. So let's do a nice little what to do in the future, what to do next. Okay, so we'll think of this as a little thought process. So we've got, we know that it is Trump administration next. He's a Republican. So we've got some assumptions that we've just went through. So we can expect that there'll be a rollback in OSHA and EPA regulations. So let's navigate through this. So if you're expecting no OSHA or EPA, that's possible in certain industries. So the first thing you need to know is your NAICS code in the U.S., which is the North American Industry Classification System code, and then do a search from OSHA, and you'll go to the data and statistics page. You want to do a search regarding NAICS most frequently cited standard. And if your code does not get much or anything at all, chances are you're not going to see OSHA in the next 4 years. However, if you do have your, and that's really, really vague, not vague, that's really, really sweeping. Me saying chances are you're not going to see OSHA. If you have a complaint, if you have a whole bunch of other things, you can see OSHA. I'm just saying by NAICS code search. So you're going to do an NAICS code search, and if you do find activity, that's actually a 1-year peak of activity. So if you have some activity within the last year, chances are you might still have activity with OSHA. All right, so that's the first thing you want to do is to get your NAICS code, do a quick check to see what OSHA has done in the past. Another thing to expect is there's going to be a delay in the rulemaking process. So all the stuff that you've been doing for heat stress, which was supposed to be coming out, still do it because you got to think about your workers, but you're going to be doing it for a different reason. All right, so you're going to be doing it because it's the right thing to do, not because OSHA is going to regulate you, because chances are that law is going to be, I don't see it coming out unless there's a real big issue where there's a fatality or something leading from heat stress. Chances are we're not going to see this one for a few years, or 4 years at least, right? Back to the audits. I think I said that, I don't know, but you will see less inspections from OSHA and EPA. So that means it's your opportunity, especially if you are a consultant, to get services of doing a mock OSHA audit. You might want to change the name to mock OSHA, from mock OSHA audit to something else, because most people who are listening to this, or at least knows how to read the tea leaves, knows that OSHA is not going to be doing much of auditing. So what you're going to be looking to do then is you want to make sure that you're going to be prepared for not for inspection, but just more for hazard and risk. So you're going to just think of it more of a risk management activity, not as an OSHA activity. So just twist your wording a little, all right? Same thing with you guys who are consultants or you're working for a company. You're going to not call it a mock OSHA audit. Call it something else. If you are a company that is close to VPP or SHARP, go for it now. This is your time period to do it, because OSHA is going to probably focus on that. That's a big thing for the Republican administrations. They like incentivizing business taking action for themselves. So go for it. Take that step. You will actually see some weakening in water and air quality. I'm a wastewater guy, so honestly, I'm going to see if that translates to your permit, but your permits are going to be more state-bound. So you might end up seeing a difference in Republican-run states versus Democratic-run states in this case. So we'll have to have local politics. It does play, this whole conversation has a feel of local politics to it. If you're under an OSHA state plan, again, states that are red states, which is Republican, versus states that are blue states, which is Democrat, will follow the same order as federal OSHA. Red states, chances are it's going to be less regulation. Blue states, chances are it'll be more regulation. And in this time period, it's going to double down as such. So I would expect that. So you're going to be pushing people to think about things as you're doing things because it is the right thing to do. That's what you're looking for, right? It is the right thing to do. You're also going to try to develop your own policies, corporate-friendly, OSHA-friendly policies that are going to lead everybody to doing best practice type things. How you're going to find this is look for something that is an ISO standard, International Organization for Standardization, ISO. Find some ISO standards and go follow that so that you could get an international recognition for your organization. That's another way to beat this. Don't think about anything as being U.S. based at this point. Go ahead and think international. So get your company to start learning international and growing internationally. That's going to help you get past some of this legislation stuff. Another thing that you really want to do is get ready for anything by helping yourself track regulations by using Google, and I use Google Alerts specifically. I put a notification into the alerts that says, let me know by email whenever I get this topic or this topic, and I tell it the frequency to update and let me know things. And in that frequency, I believe it's weekly, then I get some information on certain things that OSHA and EPA is doing. So do that for yourself, just in case there's some sort of freak thing that EPA and OSHA now are going out and doing some more inspections. The other thing is going to be look for emphasis programs. Go to OSHA.gov, type in NEP, National Emphasis Program. So when you do an NEP in OSHA.gov, just type that into the search box. You're going to be able to see areas that OSHA is going to focus on. It is safe to say that the next 4 years, the emphasis programs are probably going to be where OSHA is going to truly focus on, and you'll see regional, and regions are by name now, by city names. So it'll be either a regional emphasis program or a national emphasis program, one of those two. So just keep a hold on that, put that on your Google alert, so if there's any activities related to that, you'll be ready for that. And if there's any compliance technology that you guys have, just invest in that because you do want to keep track of compliance activity, especially if you're in those areas where there's a national emphasis program and then a regional emphasis program, because again, you'll see OSHA more than anyone else. So at this point, you want to make sure that you're going to stay in compliance and be able to prove compliance with electronics. So go find companies that have technology. Look for companies that have AI that is in their technology integrated somehow. Can't tell you what, but that's what you're going to be looking for. All right, I think I may have exhausted this one enough for you guys to get a good idea of what to look for ahead of time. I gave you guys the differences between the two administrations, or not administrations, but the two major parties, Republican versus Democrat in office. Now we know we have a Republican in office, and we actually have the benefit of having the exact same president as before. So there's probably going to be some predictable trends that I gave you. So just keep an eye out. I mean, you guys got this. This is something that is, it's not my interview with Jay Allen. He's like, can you pull out your crystal ball and figure out what's going to happen in regulation? Like, there's no crystal ball needed. It's history. Since 1971, when OSHA got started, it's established history as what happens with Republicans, what happens with Democrats. So, that's it. Todo. That's my week in Spanish there. Hope you guys got a whole bunch out of the series. I know we had to break them up into bite-sized pieces, but I needed everyone to kind of follow along with me because some of this was rambling, some of this was just giving you guys some really detailed data. I am, again, creating a guide. I'm still kind of deciding if I should just do a PDF version, and that means I can release it real easy and get it to you guys. It's no real formatting that I need. However, if I choose to do an EPUB, which is going to be available with a ISBN number and all that stuff, then technically it becomes another book. So I'm weighing that. So I'll be like, could release a book on this data. So white paper or book, that's really what I'm trying to decide right now. The way you're going to find out is go to Sheldon.coach. And on that page, you'll be able to see my upcoming coaching class, what the coaching looks like, 3 months, 6 months, like I told you guys before. And then you'll be able to see different ways of connecting with me. But if you want to go old-fashioned email, Sheldon@sheldonprimus.com. Send me an email there. Hey, when's that white paper coming out, or the ebook? What do you decide? And that's your conversation. And then I'll let you guys know. And I'll always let you guys know on the podcast. So subscribe. See? Another way for you to get some information is subscribe to the podcast. As you subscribe to the podcast, you'll hear me give you updates. And again, I mentioned it, the first episode was I could see the data that more people actually listen to me than are subscribed to me. So that means that you could help the show out quite a bit by one simple action. Go to your phone or wherever you're listening to me, hit the button that says subscribe. Bob's your uncle. There you go. Bob's your uncle. Yes. I got your Bob's your uncle in. I tried not to get it too far away from me. I love me some Bob's your uncle. I keep that close to me because I'm going to use it sometime. So there you go. We are done with this series. As I told you earlier, the next for the show is next week I'm going to release 2 episodes. One is going to be on Monday, which is going to be the 300th episode, part 1. And then part 2 is going to be on Thursday. And that Thursday part 2 episode is going to indicate the start of our weekly Thursday show. So I committed. I just go ahead and I'm just going to keep it on Thursdays. Generally, when I do my releases, it's going to be Thursday, and I like to do it 3 a.m. Eastern time, but I might just retain my flexibility on when on Thursday gets released. But at least we got a deal on Thursday, right, gang? So thank you so much for everyone listening to the show. I hope you guys got a lot out of that. Check out Sheldon.coach, SHELDON.coach. And if you're really interested in a one-on-one, actually it'll be more one-on-many, but it's going to be a short group, and I'm working with people 3 month, 6 month. That's the 2 terms. All right. If you're ready to start your business, U.S. based, I'm going to start with U.S. right now before we could go online, go to other jurisdictions, but U.S. based, you need some help. I'm going to walk you through starting your business or getting your business launched. So that is going to be 3 months or 6 months. 3 months foundation, 6 months is the actual marketing and growing your business. That's the plan. Thank you so much for everyone listening. I can't wait to get talking to you guys and getting you to see what happens with episode 300 with Dr. J. Allen. He actually interviews me, and we talk about things on what happened in the election. We talk about what to expect, like I mentioned with you guys, but then we also talked about the last few years of podcasting, and me and Jay, when we're together, good stuff. So there you go. That's a little teaser for next episode. Subscribe, and then you'll get it as soon as it gets out. All right, gang? Go get them.
That's a wrap for today's safety show. Remember, safety isn't just about hard hats and caution signs. It's about business smarts too. Thanks for joining us on the Safety Consultant Show with Sheldon Primus. Until next time, stay safe, stay savvy, and keep consulting like a boss. Go get 'em. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast or broadcast are those of the host and its guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within the past hour, only examples. It should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the positions of the company. No part of this podcast or broadcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic recording, or otherwise without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast or broadcast, Sheldon Primus.
This episode has been powered by Safety FM.
Are you ready to make a difference? Introducing the Safety Consultant Blueprint course. Unlock your potential as a safety consultant. Learn the skills, strategies, and ethics to create safer workplaces for your very own client. From risk assessment to client acquisition, we've got you covered. Become a safety consultant and open doors to being your own boss. Join us and be the hero of workplace safety. Enroll today. Safety starts with you. Take the first step now. Visit our website and enroll in the Safety Consultant Blueprint course. Empower businesses. Protect lives. SafetyConsultantBlueprint.com.